I'll be a candle on the water. My love for you will always burn.
Hello, my fellow YouTubers and subscribers, and willkommen to my latest movie review. As I stated in my Cinderella remake review, I am now today going to be reviewing another Disney live-action remake in preparation for The Little Mermaid, which comes out very soon, and the fact that I want to rank the Disney live-action remakes. The review of Alice in Wonderland 2010 is coming. So, Pete's Dragon, directed by David Lowery, who directed Peter Pan and Wendy. Shit. And the movie stars Bryce Dallas Howard, Robert Redford, Oakes, Fegley, and I think Karl Urban as well. The adventures of an orphaned boy named Pete and his best friend Elliot, who happens to be a dragon. I hadn't seen the original for many years. I haven't actually watched it for a long time, so I couldn't tell you anything about it. I don't know how close this movie is to the original. Watching this movie, this one had always been hailed as one of the better live-action remakes. One of the good ones, you know, one of the decent ones. I don't see it. Yeah, I was really disappointed with this movie. Okay, it's not horrible, it's not one of the worst, but it ain't one of the best either. To me, this is just a very dull, shallow, holeless, empty movie that just trudges along for 1 hour 50 minutes. And nothing happens in this plot. I didn't get emotionally engaged with any of the characters. I thought the protagonist, Pete, was boring as fuck. What is there about him that's interesting? Virtually nothing. He's a boy that, you know, is with his parents in the beginning, then he gets lost in the forest, and he stays in the forest, and he meets this magical dragon who he befriends, and that's supposed to be the story. I would have liked to have seen a stronger emotional connection with him and the dragon. I think we needed to spend more time with them getting to know each other. Whereas the movie just brisks past that and focuses more attention on the boring human characters, which nobody cared for. Nobody wanted that, so yippee-ki-yay. And the design of the dragon himself, Elliot, is just weird. The face looks like part warthog, and he behaves like a dog and a cat chasing its tail. And he kind of looks a bit like a dog as well. He kind of looks too friendly, you know? He's got to look somewhat menacing. And I don't think they really pulled that off. But I'll admit, the dragon is cute. But other than that, nothing really. I mean, the CG is fine, but it is what it is. I didn't get much else out of that. And I felt like they kind of showed too much of the dragon at first. Because I wanted the film to kind of challenge the idea that Elliot was a figment of Pete's imagination. And there is a sequence where when Elliot first reveals himself to the humans, he's sort of half invisible. So the movie doesn't really know how it wants to kind of portray how everybody else sees the dragon. You know, it's kind of an idea that's suggested but very, you know, vaguely. So it would have been appreciated if the movie kind of stood its ground on that and knew where it wanted to go in that regards. It's just a very lazy movie. It just trudges along and it's just boring. It really is boring. I couldn't retain my interest for most of this movie. I'll give it this. The cast are decent. I mean, you've got Bryce Dallas Howard who plays Grace. Again, you know, thankless roles, so there's no point in me talking about these specific characters, but the actors do fine. Bryce Dallas Howard, as I said, is good. Robert Redford. Oona Laurence plays Natalie, who's Pete's friend, who she meets in the forest. They have a somewhat nice friendship, but again, it's not that interesting. Oakes Fegley plays Pete, and I don't really rate his performance. He's quite weak, to be fair. Wes Bentley as Jack. Karl Urban as Gavin. Karl Urban's character does a complete 180. He decides at one point to then exploit the dragon and say, look, people are going to come flocking in. You know, the dragon is mine, it's mine, it's mine, and I'm going to claim all this success. Well, I'm sorry, but where did this come from? It's so out of left field, I cannot tell you. I mean, Karl Urban deserves much better than this, honestly. You know, this guy was Éomer in Lord of the Rings. He deserved a lot better than this. This is Judge Dredd. You know, come on. Give Karl Urban a better script. The script is a very slow, tacky, by-the-numbers story about family and friendship, which I'm not against those themes, but the way that this movie portrays it is just, oh, boy befriends dragon, dragon gets captured, they have to save dragon, boy gets adopted into family, boy chooses to stay with adopted family. That It is so basic. It's such a thin story. And I get it, sometimes less is more. But in this case, I really thought the story had no depth to it whatsoever. There was no... At the very least, there should be an emotional connection for us, but there's nothing, because it's just boring to watch. There's really nothing. I mean, the scenes in the forest brisk by pretty quickly, and then we go into the house where Pete is adopted by Grace and Jack and Natalie, and he starts to live a bit like a human, and he starts to gain a family. And then Elliot is left in the forest on his own. Once we get to the second act, it slows right down. So the pacing of this movie is so uneven. Yeah, 1 minute it's brisking by, and then it's going slowly. And by the time the third act comes along, where they have to go on the rescue mission to rescue Elliot before Karl Urban's character can obtain him, and before the bridge starts to burn, by that time I'm just bored. I've had enough of it, and I just think that it's so without substance. I'll say this though, the color grading is nice. I like the colors of the movie. The palette of colors works very well. But it's just such a, once again, a very lazy movie from David Lowery. I don't know what's with David Lowery. He's just not, doesn't seem to be that good of a director, in all honesty. All the actors deserve so much better. The production of this movie just looks very lazy. It doesn't capture any magic, any heart. The magic and the heart just isn't here. And I don't know if that's because the original was so good, or whether it's just because no one cared about this film. And it seems like the latter. No one really cared about making this film, so they just threw it together, and that's how it seems. It feels very rushed, by the numbers. You just don't care at all. And they could have cast someone stronger as the protagonist. Most of his lines are, Elliot! 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 It reminds me of Transformers, you know, when Shia LaBeouf is shouting, Optimus! Bumblebee! Every 2 bloody minutes. I mean, he's not quite as annoying as that, but still, you get the idea. It's just like, you know, the writers couldn't think of anything else to give him to say. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's cute moments in it, and I'm sure kids will be moderately entertained, but honestly, I think it's quite a boring film, so you don't need this film. So, to give it a final rating, I will rate the Pete's Dragon remake, I'm going to have to give it a mediocre score of 5 out of 10.
I'll be your candle on the water. My love for you will always burn.
Like I said, not the best remake, not the worst either, but it's one that I got very little out of, unfortunately, and I think it's a little overrated, in all honesty. So I'm very sorry about that, but that's just my opinion. But if you disagree, that's fine. Just be respectful about it. We'll have a discussion in the comments down below. So thank you very much all for watching this review. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more content. Stay tuned next time when I do a review of the Alice in Wonderland film from 2010. Oh, fuck me. So, until next time, I'm Pajak's Perspective. See ya. Bye for now.